Hello and welcome back to Warframe. My name's
Do you
Todd.
remember the old war, Operator? Ordis seems to have misplaced those memories.
Also known as Magi Mech, that was Ordis, and this is of course Warframe. Last time we completed Sida's Vigil, did a little bit more of the star map, just a little, and we're coming back just right after that. I did want to show off the gear and the gear that I created and equip that, since I wanted to make sure to do that before we continued any further. So we did have some health restores and some energy restores. I was only able to really create one extra from the time we did create our first ones, and we also have some ciphers, which I'm going to stick down at 7 here. So if we need to use these, we can bring up our gear wheel, or we can use them by keybinding them. I've got some keybinds equipped for those, so if you see me just throw down something, it will probably be one of those, but well, maybe the first time I'll use them, I'll show off the gear wheel. Aside from that, just checking out our foundry to see what we've got. We do have enough ferrite to build some more. I did run out of ferrite when I was building the original ones, so I might be able to build some more later on, but for now, 2 is just fine. We're hopefully not going to need any more than that. I did manage to get Kogake a blueprint from a daily login reward, which Warframe does have. And I think it was in the previous video, but I didn't really talk about it. Not really needing to go in much into depth with that. Let me take a look at... Okay, so our weapons and our Warframe are still not max rank yet. We still got lots to do. From here on out, we can complete more of the solar map. And I plan on going through as far as we're able to before we think we can't really progress or the game really won't let us. We only have one last objective for our Venus Junction. Just apply 4 mods to a single Warframer weapon, and we have 2 quests for Mars Junction, which would be complete the quest Once Awake and Susei on Mercury. Can't really do the Susei on Mercury until we've unlocked Venus and Mercury, so won't be able to do that until we complete the Venus Junction, and then what I'd assume Venus will probably have the Mercury Junction, yep. So I have to complete those. Until then, though, we can definitely do an excavation. Hopefully this one doesn't go as bad as the last one. I am trying out a slightly different setup than the setup that I previously was using, so if anything seems extremely different, don't be surprised.
The scanner has picked up a target. Go to the dig site.
Pretty much the same as last time. Go to dig sites, activate excavators, move from there. Hopefully this time we won't have as many problems with bombards, but somehow I get the feeling we may not be that lucky. Gonna try to be a little bit better about dealing with them though. Maybe show off being a bit more of a pro.
Excavator deployed. Protect the unit
I
while it
highly
extracts
doubt
the
I could
artifact.
really be considered a pro at this point. So last time on Warframe I did talk a little bit about the updates that Warframe kind of gets, and I did want to go over those a little bit more. Kind of talk about how this game is really regularly updated, and the people who develop it, Digital Extremes, take great care in making sure the stream of updates is extremely regular. I'd say that there's an update probably every week, at least for something, whether it be a minor bug fix or something of that nature. But it's very often that they'll add in new warframes, new weapon skins, new content and things like that. I think somebody once described it best as saying that if you leave Warframe for about 3 months, and come back, it'll be an entirely different game when you get back.
Proceed to the dig site.
I pretty firmly agree with that sentiment. This game updates very quickly, and the developers really do put a lot of heart and effort into keeping it entertaining for the people who are playing. But at the same time, for any people who, started playing this game like a couple years back and didn't really think it was that interesting, I'd highly suggest giving it a second chance, because there's so much that changes in just, a couple months in this game.
Take complete. Your hard work has just been rewarded.
So
Extraction
something,
is now available.
an update like a year or even more, would be a massive boost in content and things to do. Just going through the star map is probably going to take me about maybe 100-ish episodes if I'm not like rushing through it as fast as I can be. I imagine anyway.
Excavator is ready to go. Keep it powered and protected from enemy fire.
Between all the quests and
The scanner has picked
other
up a target.
content that they've
Go
added to the
dig
game,
site.
there's quite a lot to do. So it'll be quite a while before I finish this series. And that kind of shows that they really have added quite a good amount, especially since this game began. If anyone has played it when it originally came out, they know for a fact that there wasn't much to this game when it first came out. Quests and the like were non-existent. It was pretty much just a pure grind for new items and weapons and warframes. Very repetitive, kind of going back and forth, but it's been updated greatly and there's much more to do now. So after talking a little bit about the basics of the update cycle for this game, it's pretty easy to talk about Digital Extremes themselves and kind of what they do. Warframe is somewhat of a big game, I would want to say. So they've developed this game since its inception, and there's a lot of different steps, and I'm sure a lot more history than I could really go into about Warframe and Digital Extremes. But the big thing that Digital Extremes has really done for this game and the people who play it is they've really focused on the community and listening to community feedback, which is greatly appreciated by a lot of people, and it's been talked about in a lot of different, blogs, videos by different people, and there's a lot of different games that it's been compared to. Most recently, I think Destiny 2 was a big one that everybody loved to compare this game to, because of the kind of similarity and how they function, how you're both games are somewhat shooters that kind of focus on gear building and kind of building up gear the same way you would in an MMO or an RPG. And truthfully, I would say that comparison is kind of a hard one to make on any other principle than the very basics, because of the fact that it's just
Excavator is ready to go.
really
Keep it powered and
hard to
protected
think
from
of this
enemy
game
fire.
as just a basic run and gun
An
game.
artifact has been located. Proceed
This
to
game
the
has
dig site.
so many more movement capabilities, and they really let you kind of live a power fantasy a lot better than something like Destiny or, for instance, Borderlands or something to that effect. They really want you to feel powerful. Now, those games, they do allow you to feel powerful and kind of like a one-man army, but Warframe kind of takes that up a notch. As we kind of progress and we get near the end of the game, it'll be readily apparent
The excavator has run out
that
of
we've
power.
improved.
Find a cell.
And more of the, not really just our character has improved, but our skill has improved, which is really kind of impressive. Especially if you're playing this game for the first time and you've never really seen a game like this before, and you're just getting into Warframe for the first time. Going from starting out the star chart, completing the star chart, to completing all the quests and everything, you really do feel like you've improved massively. By the time we're done, more than likely we won't be worried about dealing with level 100 enemies, or even, you know, more than that. And that won't be because of, you know, the fact that we leveled up our Warframe, or necessarily that purely because we got new weapons or Warframes, but a lot of it's in the mods and just the skill level that we'll kind of gain as we go through. So one of the big things that I kind of want to stress with that whole statement is that Digital Extremes has done a really good job of creating a game and building a community that allows you to kind of grow. And truthfully, there's so much more I could say about that in its entirety that I don't want to go too heavily in depth with at the moment. I'm sure we'll get more time to talk about it as the series goes on.
Has lost power. Find another cell.
But I highly recommend this game, and Digital Extremes has done a fantastic job of actually listening to the community that they've kind of built up around it. Unlike other developers who have kind of stumbled when it comes to building their game and allowing you to feel powerful when you're playing a game like this.
Look what we found.
In the meantime, though, I think we're done with this mission. Let's head out. So we've completed 3 digs. I think I could have left after just one, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the company that makes Warframe, Digital Extremes. And kind of as we go through these missions, I'll talk more as time goes on. But for now, let's complete this excavation and move on to the next node. Did get a new mod, which is good. We'll throw that on our Warframe if we're able. Got a shotgun mod, which I think we might have already had before. Again, pretty useless because we don't have a shotgun really. And we're back. Let's go take a look and see if we can install that Intensify mod. So, we can. Good. So we can throw it in our polarity V here. What do they refer to that as? Madurai? And it becomes a little bit less expensive when we throw it in that polarity, of course. We're able to install it, and we just need 2 more installed in our vault, or 3 more installed in something
you
else.
Have remembered well how the Tenno arm themselves.
Well, until we can get more mods, though, let's complete more missions here. So we do have options when it comes to our choices here for what mission we want to do. Now this mission here, this is what they refer to as a dark sector, and there will be one other dark sector on Earth, but each planet has 2 dark sectors. Now dark sectors give you bonus resources, EXP, melee kills, EXP is sometimes the one that you get, but the bonus EXP for a specialty type of kill, whether it be your melee or your secondary or your primary, and each dark sector will give you something similar to this. Now when you're trying to level up a Warframe, or you're trying to grind for resources from a specific planet, dark sectors are your best friends. They will help you get more resources and everything from your exploits. They're also great to run with a good coordinated group.
Tenno, there's a time-limited mission alert available. Check navigation.
Gain a ridiculous amount of resources. Let's see. Okay, so Lotus just talked about time-limited
Operator,
resources.
Did you hear that? It said... Cosmic
But
background radiation is a riot!
we can't do that. Not yet, anyway. That would have been an alert that if we had unlocked the complete star chart, and I'm not sure if those had popped up before, but I'm making a note of them now. If we had a complete star chart, or whatever mission that alert was on, we would have been able to do it. But currently we're not able to do it because we don't have it unlocked. Anyway, to move forward, let's do some basic sabotage. We will do the dark sector here in a bit, and maybe even switch it up a little. But for now, let's just do
The
some
Grenier
basic
are
sabotage.
attempting to clear this forest by poisoning the soil. You are here to sabotage their efforts. Start with the toxin mixer. My intel suggests there are rich enemy supply caches in the area, but I am unable to pinpoint their exact location. Search them out if you are willing to shoulder the added risk.
So, as I stated before, there are supply caches in normal missions, and these tend to be greatly useful for when you're trying to farm resources. It's extremely useful to search them out if you have the time. They'll typically be in like side paths or hidden areas, so it's always good to go backwards, take a look around. They do also create a sound, which if I can find a cache, I will show it off. I'm going to take a quick run through and try and get all those caches, if I'm able. Just because that'll greatly benefit us, because hopefully there'll be a mod or two in them. There's one. So, like, normal storage containers don't make noises, but of course these do. And, let's see what we've got. An identified item. So, we don't know what it
You
is.
found the first resource cache. I'm detecting 2 more faint hints.
As you can see, most of the Grenier are blind, but regardless, there are 2 more caches. And we don't know what the item we got out of that cache was, and we won't until we complete the mission. So it should be noted that if you fail to complete a mission, you will not be able to get what was in those caches. Another thing that we just found is a cephalon fragment. I don't know if I've explained these before, but cephalon fragments can be scanned with a codex scanner to give you special information and kind of information about the game, you know, lore-wise. They're just kind of little collectibles that you can find in the game. Not really super important because they don't truly unlock any weapons or resources or anything to that nature. Moving on, let's see. It's these large areas like this that are rather unfortunate for trying to find caches. Seems there's some noises. We're not going to worry too much about that. We're going to head around, and there may be a cache over that way, but it looks kind of like a main direction to go, so we might be doubling back around for that. If not, we could probably double back around for it later. It's best to kind of just do a quick clear when you're trying to search for the caches, because they can be somewhat difficult to find if you've not got a good lay of where they're supposed to be. But hopefully we'll be able to get lucky and find them all relatively quickly. And I'm also hoping not to get detected so I don't have to deal with any large amounts of people. So this you'll sometimes find every now and then. They're like little bodies that'll shine like a resource cache. If you touch them, they'll release resources. Not super, you know, surprising. And I would like to, there we go, bullet jump upwards. Get around those. And am I able to get into here? I guess not. If you fall into these water wheels here, it's not an instant death. It's just the same as falling into a pit. Just inconvenient and quite annoying. I don't think we can go any further that way, so I'm going to head this way towards our objective. Oh. Was there... Nope. I was thinking that this light was a cache, but it appears not to be. Unlucky. Maybe next time. Sounds like the Kubros are fighting again. Last time they were on our side, let's hope this time as well. Well, they were sort of on our side. At the very least, they weren't trying to actively attack us.
Remove the biocatalyst from the mixer to halt the Grenier poison's creation. Take care when destroying the biocatalyst cartridge. It is highly explosive.
If I can hit it, there we go.
Good work. Now get to the injector.
moving forward. If we did miss a little cache back there in that side passageway, I'm not super worried about it. You don't have to get all these caches. It just would be nice to find them just purely based on the fact that they might give us some mods. That was kind of a cool flying stealth kill. Shame it wasn't actually that stealthy. That man was completely blind until I was like 3 feet in front of him. Stealth definitely is not the most difficult thing.
Set the injector into overdrive to incinerate the toxin.
You can also follow the basic stealth rule of if no one is alive to see you, then no one saw you. Makes some things in Warframe relatively easy. So here you can see we could use the ciphers.
We are going to destroy the injector by operating it at a dangerously high velocity. Keep the Grenier at bay until it melts down.
But truthfully, we wouldn't need them for something small like this. Oh, an extremist. You know, you'd think if our goal was to destroy this injector, we wouldn't have to protect it while the Grenier kind of destroy it for us. You'd think that it'd be okay if they just destroyed it for us. But maybe my logic there is kind of flawed. Maybe we have to permanently destroy it, whereas they understand a little bit better. I don't know. It seems kind of like an oxymoron to me, though. Protecting the thing you want to destroy. Still looking for those resource caches, but I don't think I'm going to have the chance to find all of them. And dealing with these Grenier, relatively simple. So, overall,
You just destroyed a massive batch of Grenier toxin. Good work. Get to extraction.
after completing this one, we could go search around and see if we can't find those caches, but I think that'd be kind of a big waste of time. I did show you guys what one of them looks like, what they sound like. They're not super hard to find. If we really need to find them, we can. Let's see. Oh, something popped up. Hope that didn't come through on the video. That'd be really annoying if it did. Aside from that, let's see. Did I finish my talk about D? Yeah, I mostly did. There's a lot of things that could be said about it, but I think most people have kind of gotten the idea at this point anyway. The big thing is the community of Warframe is great. Other games, not so great. Pretty much explains itself when you actually play the game. No cache there. Oh, we ran through the extraction. Alright, so that cache had 2,000 credits in it. Not bad, but would have preferred a mod. Let's see, we probably have enough time for another mission. Let's see if we can't get one more mission done. So, the next mission that we have the opportunity to do would be Europo, there we go. But it is an Archwing mission, and currently we don't have an Archwing.
New alert marked on navigation, Tenno.
So we've got to complete the Archwing quest to get an Archwing. Now, how do we complete that quest? So, it appears we have to complete the Mars Junction. So we don't have that complete yet. We probably won't be able to do the Archwing quest for quite some time. In the meantime, I guess we'll have to take a look at Koba. Now, I did say I would switch it up a little, which means that, you know, let's switch it over to public. And get some more people in here when we're doing Koba. Hopefully we can go a little bit farther and I can show what it's kind of like to be a low-level player playing with a bunch of people who probably have nearly completed the game or whatnot. Or maybe we'll get a bunch of people like us. Regardless, let's check it out. That is, if anyone else is even playing Koba. We might get unlucky and not have anyone else.
Operator?
A lot of times you'll join a mission in public though, and you'll have someone join with you. So we'll see how this goes.
Our position has been compromised. Defend the cargo until reinforcements arrive.
It should be noted that, as you saw previously when we switched to public, it stated how many groups were doing Koba at the time, and none are doing Koba. If we wait outside of the circle on this defense objective, we could probably wait for somebody to join us before we start, but I don't figure we really need to do that. I was really hoping there would be somebody doing some earth grinding. A lot of the times you'll find a lot of people here doing grinding for either very high levels because of the resources, or very low levels because, just like us, they're trying to complete the star chart and get stuff done, like getting some mods. But it seems we're going to be unlucky this time around, and it'll be just us. Well, I think we'll do alright in the meantime. We're meeting the infestation. So these are equivalent to Warframe's zombies. I'm not sure if we've seen the infestation already, but they're pretty self-explanatory by just saying zombie. If you played any video game with zombies in them, you'll probably kind of understand what you're looking at. The infestation is mostly melee based, so thankfully you don't have to deal with things shooting you too much anyway. Meaning that a lot of the time they're preferred to fight against infestation than anything else, because you have the option to go full range and not get hit. Very useful, even when fighting higher level infestation. They don't really shoot you too much, or don't hit you from range that much. Meaning that dealing with even the level 100 infestation is not exceptionally difficult. You just really can't get hit by the few infestation that do have ranged attacks. A little bit of trivia as well. You can take out your codex scanner and scan defense pods. Now, I'm not sure why you would do this, as I'm not sure what it actually gives you, but it is something that you are able to do. There are a lot of different types of infested. You'll see by the names that there's quite a few of them. They tend to be variants of the same style, or have very similar attack patterns. So it's quite easy to just either kite them around or deal with them up front. You know, it's kind of a shame though. I was really hoping we'd get a group of at least maybe one or two other people, so we could kind of show playing Warframe with some people. But maybe that'll have to be saved for another time. Because for now, I guess we'll just have to deal with trying to do these defense missions and maybe some bounties later. I think since we didn't get anybody to join us, we'll probably head out at wave 5. Because it's quite boring if you're just by yourself doing a defense mission, and you can get pretty quickly overwhelmed in the higher waves. So we'll probably do some grinding, maybe in the next episode. But I'll try and, as I stated previously, keep that to a minimum. Nobody wants to see the same thing over and over and over. Hopefully we can progress through Venus and Mercury relatively quickly though, because that really does kind of open most of the star chart up to us. It allows us to really get into things like Mars, which is kind of a big step in completing the star chart. There's some other big steps, but Mars is one of the biggest. You unlock multiple paths by going through Mars, and you've kind of progressed past some of the frames, or some of the Warframe parts that you'll need throughout most of the game. There will be a couple select Warframes that we'll be focusing on getting when we have the opportunity to get them. Mostly because they're ones that will kind of carry us through the star chart quests and pretty much everything that the game has to offer. And that's saying something considering how bad I am at this game sometimes. Those frames can assist me in getting through. But once we've got their hands on those frames in particular, we'll be pretty much A-okay for most of the game. Until we get up to probably sortie level, which sorties are kind of end-game content, but they're similar to quests, or even bounties. But for now, small steps. Really got to get that Mars Junction. But I guess this will be our last wave before we head out. It's been so lonely without another Warframe player around. It's quite surprising too. The dark sectors typically have quite a few people playing them at any one time. It must be the slow night. Though they did recently release some content which has been widely popular, so it could be that more people are doing that than dark sectors. And it's also a thing that these early resources aren't as valuable later in the game because you'll have quite a few of them. A lot of these starting planets tend to have the same resources, meaning by the time we're done, we're going to have a good bit of ferrite and polymer bundles. Oh, we've run across we were just hit by a specialty proc, which I think might have been radiation or corrosion, I'm not sure. And we're also introduced to Ancients. These guys are the worst. When dealing with the infested, these will be the bane of your existence. Ancients are either ancient healers or ancient disruptors. Ancient healers shield the infested for a large amount, so until you take them out, the rest of the infested won't take a large amount of damage. And there's also ancient disruptors, which work a lot like energy leech extremists, in that they leech your energy from you. Very annoying. Especially if your frame kind of relies on their powers to keep them alive. Got another achievement there, didn't we?
Reinforcements available. Do you choose to
think
leave
we're gonna
now
leave now.
or continue fighting?
So we did get another mod, but I think... Oh, it was one that we have not had before. That's good. And we also got a mod for a Sentinel, which we currently do not have. I'll go more into that once we start dealing with Sentinels. Alright, so in the meantime we kind of just played around, did a couple missions in the solar map, not too much to talk about. Kind of we'll be exploring a little bit of the bounties next time. I'll probably do just a quick run through of both of those, and hopefully we'll get enough for the Venus Junction, but if not, I'll probably farm that off camera so we don't have to watch me doing the same mission over and over. And from there, we will finally be able to proceed on to Venus, since we were so sadly blocked by not having our Archwing here on Earth. Anyway, until next time, goodbye.